Muslim reformers exist, and they are serious, and they are brave. The Mu'tazilites attempted rational theology in the 9th century. Abdullahi an-Na'im argues that Sharia itself requires a secular state to be authentically chosen rather than coerced. Rashid Ghannouchi has theorized an Islamic democracy rooted in shura, consultation, as a functional analog to representative government. These are genuine intellectual resources, and they are not trivial. But they work in tension with the tradition's center of gravity, not in alignment with it. When a Christian argues for the separation of church and state, she can point to her founder and say, "He told us to render unto Caesar." When a Muslim argues for the separation of mosque and state, he must argue against the example of a founder who did not render unto Caesar because he was Caesar, and more than Caesar. That is not a difference of sincerity, it is a difference of structure. And structure matters more than sentiment when the question is whether a faith and a republic can share the same ground without one consuming the other. If coerced faith is not faith, but obedience, and the most formidable Christian intellect of the 20th century believed this absolutely, then any political theology that cannot distinguish between the believer's free submission to God and the citizen's compelled submission to the state has a problem it must solve before it can coexist with republican governance. This is the razor. It cuts both ways. It cuts against every Christian nationalist who would hang the 10 Commandments on a classroom wall by force of law, as though a child's encounter with Scripture should be mandated by the state rather than offered by the church. It cuts against every theocratic impulse that would narrow the gap the founders spent their lives building. The razor does not spare the faith from which it was forged.